Today, we are going to be talking about pros and cons of U of T. Now, I'm going to focus more on the ones that I considered or weighed most heavily when I was in grade 12 and I was trying to decide where I wanted to go. And I wanted to make this video now, actually, since it is almost time for college decisions to come out. Yeah, I wanted to help you little grade 12s out if you're trying to decide if U of T is a place for you. Because when I was in grade 12, I was so excited for this new stage of my life, but so anxious. I had never had the chance to make such an important decision for myself. This was the first decision I had ever made for myself. I could do anything I wanted and my life would be so different. Thankfully, my parents very much let me make this decision for myself. I was thinking about it and I'm like, damn, 3 years ago in this time period, I had my life completely changed when I got rejected from my dream school. And honestly, it was very, very difficult for me because it had been this dream that I had nurtured for so many years. And I was so certain that it was right for me. And I was like, there's no way that the universe wouldn't give this to me. Like this is what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm meant to be. This is where I'm meant to go. And for that to not happen, it crushed me a little bit, but also it set me on the path to be here today. And for that, I'm grateful. So shout out to the Harvard admissions people. Thank you for rejecting me. I ended up here and I'm very happy here. You can have these dreams and stuff, but sometimes with time you'll realize that things are not as perfect as you made them out to be in your mind. And the same thing goes for people, you know, like if you have this first love that you've idealized in your mind and you're like, oh my God, like they're the perfect person for me. How could they have broken my heart? With time, you realize that they weren't perfect and it was just your brain making them seem perfect. Same thing goes with colleges. If you get rejected from your dream school, I'm sorry. I know that it is hard to deal with and it can be very isolating, especially if the people around you accomplish their dreams and you're the person who didn't get to. But I mean, it will teach you valuable experiences. And as annoying as it is, I do think the idea of rejection is redirection is very true. And I personally try to think of that anytime I'm rejected, which is very often, but you will face a lot of rejection in your life. And at this time, this might be your first major rejection. Good luck to you all. Yeah, so back to the pros and cons list. I would say, like, I wish I could tell you all, I hope you follow your heart and end up where your heart tells you to go, but I know that not everybody has that privilege. So, you know, whatever your situations may be, I hope that this pros and cons list might help you, might address some of your concerns or fears or questions. Yeah, and another point I should make is you should bear in mind that what are pros for me might be cons for you, and what are cons for me might be pros for you. So take everything that I'm about to say with a grain of salt. And remember, no two people will have the same experience. Yeah, so I had the University of Ottawa, then I had the University of Guelph also. So Harvard was the only school I applied to outside of Canada, and all the other ones I applied to within Canada. So I applied to Queen's, the University of Ottawa, the University of Guelph, U of T obviously, and McGill. Oh yeah, McGill. So I got into all those places obviously. So Ottawa, I didn't like the city that much. I hate Ottawa. I have a lot of fond memories in Guelph and I love Guelph. But it is kind of sleepy and it just very much gives me like the same vibes of the town that I grew up in. And then Kingston, I think Kingston is nice, but I wasn't sure I wanted to live there. It's kind of isolated and it's in like the country. And I am a country person, but I was like, maybe I need to grow and live in a city. And then McGill It was either going to be the University of Toronto or McGill for me. And honestly, I hate Montreal with a burning passion in my soul. And the idea of living in Montreal really wasn't it for me. The winters, I don't have a problem with. I love winter. But just, I don't know. It wasn't for me. So yeah, that is why my first pro, basically, that's all to say that my first pro on my list is that U of T is in Toronto. Because all the other options I had were not for me. And there are a lot of pros about Toronto. It is the biggest city in Canada. It is, I think, the most multicultural city in the world. I could be wrong. You guys can fact check me if I am wrong. But I did have people tell me that, and they were like, why would you want to go to U of T? There's so many international students. And I'm like, exactly. I want more spice, more diversity, more everything. I don't know, it seemed like a really cool adventure to me to live in a big city, especially because like I grew up in the countryside, as I've said, and it would definitely be a change. I am tired of it now. I'm excited to leave. There's no way I'm staying here to do graduate school, but yeah, for me, Toronto, like the fact that U of T is in Toronto was a big pro. Another pro is that U of T is in the top 25 universities in the world. I think it's number 21, but I could be wrong. It's like 20 or 21. Or maybe it's even higher. I don't know. But anyways, I get a lot of satisfaction and it makes me feel good inside. And I know it's awful and everybody who's watching is probably like, Bella, what are you saying? But, you know, it feels nice to know that I go to one of the best universities in the world. And it's just nice to have that prestige. Like, I don't know, like it's kind of, I've only ever been like from this bum ass town and like nobody in my family is extraordinary. Nothing about me is extraordinary, but at least I can go to one of the best universities in the world. I mean, yeah. And more on kind of like the idea of it being one of the best in the world. Like obviously online you're gonna see people say, oh, U of T sucks, oh, they curve your grades down, profs are horrible, like all this shit. And I mean, I'm sure there is some truth to those things, and because truth is always like the middle ground in something, right? But I've never experienced anything negative to do with my academics. I don't think I've ever experienced like the curve, like bringing my grade down. I've deserved all the grades that I've ever gotten, including my worst grade. I deserved that, you know? I can't say the same for like every program at U of T, especially the hardest ones like engineering and like the sciences. I really can't speak to those. But for me personally, like I think the quality of education that I'm getting is excellent. I am being pushed to my limit. I am learning a lot more than people I know who are at other universities. And I like that. That's what I wanted. I wanted a challenge. I wanted to go somewhere like this, you know? It's a very rigorous environment, and there's a lot of super ambitious people here. There's also like more normal people here, but there are like at least people I surround myself with. People are very ambitious, hard workers. They want the best in the world. They want to go to Oxford, Cambridge, like Sciences Po, Ivies after U of T. Like we want more for ourselves, and I like that. I wanted to be in an environment like that. And obviously there are ambitious people wherever you go, but especially at U of T, like there's a reputation for it, and I like that. Another pro to me was the idea that I would be surrounded by people like me, and I mean, that's what I got. So that was a really big pro for me. Also, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to study, and the fact that U of T has so much, like so many programs, so many different like options that you can do with your degrees, like that really appealed to me because I knew I wanted to study history and probably like political science, foreign affairs, international relations, whatever, like something like that. But I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do. And so I'm glad that I was at a school where like there are so many options that still have to do with that topic, but like I don't have to study political science. You also have like the opportunity to do courses in a lot of different topics because we have to fill breadth requirements. So I study history, European affairs, and French, but I have taken Spanish, I've taken like physical geography, like science, which is my favorite thing. Like I've done things that are not just purely history and politics classes. Also, another pro for me was the diversity of U of T. I wanted to be around people who were not like me. I was kind of tired of that. I never really felt like I fit in at home. And here I feel like I do, based on my interests, based on my background, based on my aspirations in life. I just feel more seen by the type of people who are at U of T. It's just been amazing that not only do I meet these amazing people, but they want to show me like their cultures and their homes, and I get to see that with them and they take me around, and I just love that so much. Yeah. I also feel like there's a lot of opportunities for research and internships at U of T. And at least with the people I'm around, like we try to get internships and all these opportunities and like things like that. I really like that. I didn't just want to be a student because I was aware that you can't really do anything with a history degree. But I also I don't know what I want to do with my life. I have some ideas now for sure, but like in grade 12, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, where I saw myself in 5 years, 10 years. Yeah. There were a lot of unknowns, and for me, picking somewhere like U of T with so many opportunities was really appealing because I'm like, well, it's leaving so many doors open and there's so many opportunities. What else do I have for pros? Oh, I love the campus. U of T's campus is beautiful. I love that we have a park in the middle of it. I love Trin. Like Trin is everything to me. It's the most beautiful place in the world to me. Yeah, I just really love the campus. So that was a major pro for me over other ones. So this is gonna be funny because my very first pro was how U of T is in Toronto, right? Well, that is also a major con, or it was for me. As I said, I hated Toronto as a kid. I'm not a city person actually at all. It very much is overwhelming for me, and I love being in nature. So yeah. Another reason why the fact that it's in Toronto is a con is because every fiber of my being wanted to get as far away as possible from where I'm from. And Toronto happened to be the closest place to where I'm from. I am only really at U of T because of U of T as an academic institution, not U of T as a university of this city. Other cons about Toronto, the public transportation is not the best. We only have a couple subway lines and they don't really get you where you need to go if it's outside of like the downtown core. Now, I mean, if you're a U of T student and you don't really ever leave like the area of U of T, you won't notice that. More cons. It is a really big school, tens of thousands of people. It's really, really, really big. And some people don't like that because they're like, how will I ever know my profs? How will I ever get reference letters? And what I say to that is, yes, you do have to work harder to be known, but it's kind of preparing you for the world because things are not handed to you in the world. Like you have to go out and get them. And at U of T, yes, you're in a big class a lot of the time. That means that you're just gonna have to like walk up to the prof, introduce yourself, go to office hours. There are opportunities for profs to get to know you, even in the biggest classes. But if you need more support, then maybe this isn't the place for you, especially in sciences. Another con, I would say, I was really worried about this. So it's funny because, like I said, like this was also a pro for me, the academic rigor, being this elite academic institution. I wanted that, but at the same time, I also had this fear that I wasn't smart enough to be successful here. And a lot of people told me like, why would you make your life more difficult than it has to be? Your grades are gonna be lower than they could be elsewhere. Like all these things, that did worry me a lot because I had never really been like that academically challenged before. So the idea of like suddenly not being the best in my class kind of freaked me out because a lot of my identity was based on that, which is stupid, but I was young and I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen when I go to U of T and I'm at the bottom of the class because everybody is at the top of their class in high school? You know, like what if I'm not good enough for U of T? What if I get 70s? Like, what if I fail? Like, I really had no idea because people say U of T is so hard. Like, you can't succeed. You can't. And I was like, well, shit. What if I fail? Like, that would be awful. When I know if I go to Ottawa, I'll get like high 80s and 90s, like I always do, you know? And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't often get 90s at U of T and whatever, but you know, so yeah, as I was saying, like a con was I was super worried I wasn't gonna be successful here. And I mean, I am not as successful academically as I could be elsewhere. If I think too much about how my grades are a lot lower than high school, I get a little upset. But kind of along with that is hustle culture. That was a con for me. I mean, I just got this impression that U of T, everybody is grinding themselves to the ground and nonstop hustle. Everyone's like, you're not gonna have, there's no party scene whatsoever. You're not gonna be able to make friends because everybody's just so concerned about their grades, like all these things. And what I would say to that is, yes, there is a hustle culture. And yes, the people, at least I'm around, are extremely hardworking. I mean, do we party Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every single weekend? No, but that also didn't matter to me that much. I'm not much of like a going out person. But that didn't really matter to me when I was 17 and applying to university. I was like, well, I can't go to clubs until I'm 19, so it doesn't really matter. With the hustle culture, you know, sometimes it can be simultaneously inspiring and make you feel like absolute shit because everybody's priorities are different and everybody's goals are different. And when you look around and you see that other people are aiming so high and working so hard and achieving so much and you aren't, it can be a blow to your confidence. I know I shouldn't compare myself to anybody, and I know that we're all on different paths and yada, yada, yada. But when one of your friends gets into the program that you got rejected from, that can hurt a lot. When one of your friends gets a position in a society that you got rejected from, that hurts. When people you know are getting into these research positions that you get rejected from, it really, really hurts. And my advice for you, if you're worried that you're going to be at the bottom of the barrel or the bottom of the pack or whatever, if you go to U of T, is success is measured differently to every person. And everybody has different priorities and everybody's on a different path. No two people can be on the same path. Other than these twins who were at Oxford and they have the same LinkedIn. Shout out to them. They're from my hometown actually. But anyways, that's not the point. So to me, like the hustle culture, the intense work-life or lack of work-life balance really scared me when I was coming, like when I was applying or thinking about coming to U of T. But I mean, that's your life if you want it to be. And I do work hard, but I do think that I have a really good work-life balance. And for the most part, I'm like satisfied with where I am academically and everything else. And also, I would say that I find it really inspiring to be around people like this. Have you guys ever heard of being a small fish in a big pond? Like that sort of thing. People told me, Bella, why would you want to be a small fish in a big pond? Now, basically what they were saying was, why would you want to be one of many in such a big place? Like, why would you want to be around so many people who are just as smart as you or smarter because you won't stand out? Basically, they were concerned that like I wouldn't stand out and I wouldn't be successful because like everyone is at my level or above me. And that really freaked me out, if I'm being completely honest with you. I had only ever been a big fish in a small pond. My town is small. There is one high school. I was like top of my class, whatever. It is scary when it's put like that to you. As a 17-year-old being told like for the rest of your life, you're not gonna be anything special because you're choosing to put yourself in a situation where everybody is special. Like that was really scary. Honestly, kudos to me for having the courage to pick that path, because the easier path would have been to be a big fish in a small pond at a different university. Because here, I am a small fish in a big pond. I am, and that's fine. I've come to terms with that. I chose this for myself. I knew what I was getting into, and it's really not that bad. I actually had a coworker tell me something that changed my perspective on that analogy as well. He said something along the lines of, think about how if you go back to a small pond, how much bigger you are. You won't fit in that pond at all. Yes, you're a small fish in a big pond, but you're growing with that pond. But if you were in a small pond and you're already a big fish, you don't have much more growing to do. You can't go beyond. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but it was very profound to me, and I don't think I explained it very well. It did make me realize that while it is a choice that I made that potentially harms me in the short term, in the long term, it benefits me academically and in every freaking way, I think. Honestly, who the hell wants to be a big fish in a small pond? That's boring. There's only so many laps you can do. Maybe it's not so bad being a small fish. I think it's good for character development. And I bring this up in every video when I give advice. I always talk about it builds character. Nothing is more true to my heart when I'm like, it builds character. Another con is that my wins feel diminished. It's just hard to celebrate yourself when everybody around you also seems to be having like all these wins. I can give a really good example actually. Dean's List. Making Dean's List when you have a GPA 3.5 and higher, like that is an accomplishment, right? When I got Dean's List, like I was like, oh my God, like yay, you know? But at the same time, everybody around me seems to get that. So it doesn't really feel like a win. It feels like the bare minimum. It's just hard to celebrate yourself when it feels like you're not really doing anything special. You're just doing what everyone else is doing. On the same vein, it also makes failures all the worse because you're like, well, I didn't get Dean's List and every single person I know has Dean's List. I can't even hit that benchmark that everybody else is getting. Like, I should be able to do that. I expect a lot from myself, but when you're in an environment like this and the people around you are so driven and successful, it's kind of expected that you are also going to be able to accomplish just as much. So, yeah. Oh, another con, actually, this is a big point actually. Toronto is super expensive. U of T is expensive. Now, I'm a domestic student, so I pay like $8,000 in tuition, something like that, $8,000 in tuition. International students pay a lot more than that. It's really expensive to be an international student at U of T. The cost of living is extremely high in Toronto. It's a very big issue. You can read about it online if you're interested. The cost of living in Canada is extremely high, or especially Ontario. Like groceries, super expensive. Rent, the rent crisis in Toronto, you don't even want to know how much Angela and I pay for our apartment, okay? Let's just say that. And it's tiny. It's a lot. So that's what I would say to that. I mean, the cost of living is high in a lot of places in the developed world, but so it's kind of the unfortunate reality of Toronto. Oh, I know what another con is. Okay, this is more so Trinity specific, but you would think for such a big school, you would never see like people you don't want to see. Basically, you could hide in the masses if you wanted to. That is not my experience. People I can't stand, I seem to see everywhere, or I run into them, or like I always seem to have the same classes with the same group of people. It's very strange, especially with Trin. Like everybody knows each other's business. It's so funny. Like for me, I love a little chisme, like a little drama and like gossip and stuff. That can be fun. But yeah, like everybody knows each other's business. Like, it's so weird and also a little messy. Love lives, a little complicated in that way because everybody freaking knows each other and everybody knows each other's drama. Or so it feels like. Yeah, I guess that's also a con, you could say. I've been filming this video for the past like 2 hours, I don't even know. I'm gonna wrap up this video, but my last part of this video that I wanted to kind of say was, did I make the right choice, basically? Do I regret coming to U of T? Should I have listened to my longer cons list? Because I did have a longer cons list than pros list, I must say. To answer very briefly, no, I did not make a mistake. I'm very happy with my decision. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world. I am excited for a new chapter in my life when I'm not at U of T, but I'm gonna enjoy the last 3 semesters that I do have at U of T. And yeah, that's kind of everything I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it useful, helpful, funny. Okay guys, I will see you in the next one. And Happy New Year. I think I already said that, but yeah, Happy New Year. Bye. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I got into Trinity College. Oh my God. Oh my God. Congratulations, Bella. You've been admitted to Studies in Humanities at the Faculty of Arts and Science with membership to Trinity College for fall 2021.